Alright, in this video what I want to do is show you displacement of geometry, because before what happens is, with bump is a very fake looking thing. What I want to do is actually see something come off the surface of a 3D mesh just like this. Okay, and you can see that this is just a standard ball, but when rendered it looked like that. And it was made with this node. So what I want to do is destroy this node and show you exactly what to change. And I got to do one more thing not to cheat here. I want to do there we go. Okay, so ready? First off, we're going to take a crater. We're going to take that crater and we're going to change the properties of the color on it. The colors are going to be close valued of gray. That one. This one. And a darker variant. There we go. I'm going to attach this to the ball just to get a feel for it via the bump. And we'll look at the bump on the ball and look at this node right here and kind of tweak it out in some way that the frequency gives us greater change. Just like that. Now I can disconnect the bump and you can see the difference between bump and displace. That little one was displace, and now here's bump where it doesn't even come off the surface. It's just a fake thing, allowing light to look like the illusion of it coming off the surface. So let's get rid of that. I attach it to bump just to get it to where I need it to be in displace. So middle mouse button, click and drag it over to displacement map. And make sure you're using mental ray and the quality is production. Okay. And right now when rendered, this gives you somewhat of a good way of seeing it, but I need to do one more thing. I need to teach Maya how to divide. And it's much like teaching a little kid how to divide. Okay, so on the surface here, first thing we need to do is say window rendering editors mental ray approximation editor. Okay, in here I need to do a subdivision approximation. So I'm going to create that. And this will teach Maya how to divide. In other words, in areas that have more or larger changes of gray, it will actually add more geometry in those areas. Okay, and I can edit that. And I want to do a spatial. The spatial is going to be based upon a minimum and maximum. Larger the change, the longer it takes. I'm also stating what the minimum amount of length there is between polygons, 0.01. Okay. Now again, the smaller the change here, or smaller the length, the more detail, but the longer it takes to actually render. Okay, so just choosing those will give me pretty good results. I'm going to do one more thing. And I'm looking around for something here. Okay, it's on P-sphere shape 2. Displacement map. Make sure you uncheck feature displacement, because you want it to be based upon the spatial change, not the displacement map itself. This one takes a couple minutes to render, but when rendered, you get actual surface deformations. Ooh, and a lot of them. So how do I rectify that? Well, very quickly, let me show you how this works. Hit escape and it allows you to get out. Going back to this, well, what happens here is these gray values now change. So if I choose 3 darker variations, that one, that one, and that one. If I choose 3 darker variations, it's going to pull onto the surface a little bit more inward, not outward. So lighter the gray, the outward change. Lighter the gray, more of an inward displacement goes on. So you're going to have to really kind of pick and choose what values of gray over here in order to get a good deformation over here. So you can see a slight change now, but still way too much. So that means this value needs to come down quite a bit. And I can make adjustments here also. But I'm running out of time, so that is how to displace geometry on the surface and get your head wrapped around about values of gray. Very important that you learn this, because later on in workflows, using ZBrush, you can have a gray value that you don't really understand coming out of ZBrush, and how is that really affecting the mesh? Well, the lighter equals more, the black equals a more suckward in motion here. So we can get our head wrapped around it here as far as a new student, and then move on to more complex things later on in ZBrush. So that is displacement of geometry.